Hi everyone. In this video I want to talk about each of the 4 steps of your last assignment in Module 6, the methodology video assignment. Please watch each step carefully as I will be expanding on the instructions in the assignment description and rubric, which you will find in the Submit Your Assignment section of eClass. And of course, before you begin any assignment, you're going to look at the assignment description and the rubric. So let's do that, so that you have a clearer idea of the kinds of things I'm going to be looking for when I'm marking this assignment. So as you know, in order to be able to find the assignment description and rubric, you'll go down to Submit Your Assignments. And since this is our last assignment, it's near the bottom. And here you'll find the research methodology video and Module 6 forum discussion thread. And the discussion thread I'm going to talk about in a moment. When you click that, the way in which you would submit your assignment, you'll also find above the submission section of the eClass section will be the assignment description rubric, and it's usually a PDF that looks something like this. So when you open it up, you will see the assignment description, and each of them has a slightly different look to them, but they will have more or less the same kind of information. So in this case, you'll see the purpose of the assignment, and then you're going to see drawing on the methodology videos in eClass. Choose one, for example, and I'm going to go through them, so I won't read that. But these are the 4 steps that you'll follow. And then for the rubric, down at the bottom here, you will see, and maybe I can move this a little bit. Let's see if I can. Oh, sorry. You're going to have a little bit of a cutoff down here, but you can have a look at it on your eClass. You're going to also see that you have 3 columns. First is the mark distribution. The second is the descriptor that goes with each of those marks. And then there's a general description of the kinds of things that I'll be looking for in 3 categories. One will be video presentation, and that will include 5 marks out of the 15. The quality of the conceptual discussion, that will be 5 marks out of 15. And the quality of the discussion forum follow-up, which I will be talking about in this video. So now that you've had a chance to look at the assignment description and rubric, let's go on and look at each of the steps and talk about what's included in each of those. The first step is to choose your methodology video from the list in Module 6. So we're going to have a look at that on our eClass site so that you have a chance to see exactly what you're going to do for this step. So first of all, in order to have an idea of what the choices are in terms of the methodology videos, you're going to go down to the bottom. I'll try not to do this too fast so I don't make you dizzy or something. You're going to go right down to Module 6, and then right below Module 6 is a section called Research Methodology Videos. And as you'll notice, there are 10 of them here. All the way from action research, actor network theory, which is something we haven't talked about at all, arts-based research. There's some really interesting ones here. And each of these videos is done in different formats slightly, but is done by a faculty member at the University of Alberta. And so there are 10 from which you can choose. So you might want to have a quick look at some, parts of some of them just to see whether this is something that might be interesting for you. And then you're going to go back up after you've had a chance to look at those. You're going to go back up to Submit Your Assignments. And in Submit Your Assignments, under Research Methodology Video in Module 6, which I just opened for you, under that there's a question mark, and beside it says Methodology Choice Module 6 Assignment. So you're going to open that up. Now this doesn't capture all 10, but this will give you an idea of what you would look for. So each of them has, this just is a column of people who haven't answered yet, and of course most of you won't have at this point. So you'll look across the 10. You're seeing 8 of them here, but you'll look across the 10 And underneath each one is a box, a small box, and also a number. And the number will be 0, 1, or 2. If it's 2, that means that that column is already full. We have 10 to choose from. We have 20 people in the class, so I've allowed for 2 of you to choose the same one. So supposing you're interested, Charlotte is interested in action research. All Charlotte has to do then, if it was at 0 or 1, is that she would just need to click, I'm not going to click it now, but she would just need to click this box here. And when she does that, it will move her name over to that column. And then once everybody's chosen, all of the columns will be full and there won't be any names over here. So that's how you're going to choose the one that you've decided to do. Or, of course, because there are so many choices, but so few that can choose each one, you may not get your first choice, but that's okay. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. As I mentioned, you may not get the one you want, but that's okay for 2 reasons. First, you will get a chance to explore a methodology you might not otherwise. And that's kind of exciting, actually. And for many people, it's been the start of an exploration that they didn't expect, because they found out about something that they hadn't known about before, and they got really interested in it for their own research. And 2, you will have a chance to view and even download the videos produced by your colleagues on the methodology you might have preferred. And so that will give you important information and resources anyway that you'll be able to have a look at and explore through the work that they have done. In step 2, you're going to explore the methodology discussed in the video using 2 or 3 academic readings. So as you're presenting, you'll be able to draw on other resources to talk about that particular methodology. Many of the researchers in the videos that you'll have chosen from will mention authors or provide resource ideas in their video. Using that information and your own literature search, have a look at a couple of academic resources other than the video that will help flesh out an understanding of the methodology you are exploring. And then, having done some background research, you will then plan and prepare a 10 to 15 minute video using any technology that is easily accessible to your colleagues. For example, you can download your video onto YouTube. That's what I do, because I do that mainly because it's so easily accessible for anyone. Many of you are very used to producing a video, especially these days when you're teaching online so much more because of COVID and so on. But for others, this may be a new experience. If so, I would suggest an easy technology like Screencast-O-Matic, which is what I use for my videos. There's some information posted about Screencast-O-Matic in Module 6, but there's lots of information on YouTube. There's lots of information, just doing a Google search and so on. So there's no dearth of information that you can use, and, find one that's for a novice user of Screencast-O-Matic, and it will give you some good information. Screencast-O-Matic, among others, and there are many others. I happen to be used to this one because it's something that was recommended to me a few years ago, and I've been using it ever since. But there are many others that have appeared since then, or were even existent at that time. And all of them, or at least most of them, have free versions that you can download for a certain period of time. You may find actually this is a technology that's useful to you in your teaching, and you may want to invest, but in most cases, I think you probably just want to try out the free version. There are a few limitations. You're not allowed most often to do a video no longer than 15 minutes, and sometimes it's 10 minutes. So make sure you check that, because otherwise you're not going to be able to, you may go over the time and it will just stop, so you wouldn't have your full presentation. And you often do not have access to editing functions, but you can still produce a helpful, straightforward video using the technology that's available to you, as long as you plan well ahead of time and, practice to make sure that the length of the video is within the limits and that sort of thing. You'll have no trouble at all. There are many other ways to produce videos as well, so please feel free to ask questions and share information amongst yourselves. I'm perfectly happy to answer any questions about Screencast-O-Matic, but that's about as far as my expertise, if you want to call it that, goes. So so do share information with one another, and you know, you can help each other out that way. If a technology is new to you, please build in a bit of time to become familiar with it, because otherwise it's going to be a very frustrating experience for you, and I don't want that to happen. Your video needs to include 3 things, and they're listed here. An overview of the methodology, and you'll get that from the resources that you found. A short exploration of its philosophical underpinnings, and you can use Lincoln and Guba, for example, for that, or Guba and Lincoln rather, or Creswell and Guterman. There might be something there, but certainly the resources that you've found will be probably most helpful. A thoughtful discussion about how and why, or why not, it might be useful for your research project. And so that will be interesting for you to think about as well, and certainly interesting for us to watch. Once you've completed your video and it's in a format that anyone in the class can easily access, post an accessible link to your video in the discussion forum in Module 6. As usual, you will host your thread and participate in at least 2 other threads. Along with your link, please post a list of your resources used in your video so that your colleagues, should they be interested in exploring that methodology further, will have some useful resources to get them started. And what I mean by that is, in the forum, just as you would if you were going to be writing a bunch of comments or whatever, you can just write in in the forum the URL that will allow others to access your video, and preferably if it's a hyperlink, that makes it even more convenient. But if you can't do that, or you don't know what I mean, then that's fine too. But it does make it just a little bit easier for your colleagues, that's all. And then underneath, you're going to have a list of the resources that you used to produce your video, and that will be a resource for your colleagues as well. And then they're going to be able to open that URL. They're going to be able to watch your video, and then they can then comment on the video that they've just watched in your thread, so that you start to develop a thread from the video that you produced, rather than, you know, a comment that you might have made in your forum. So I hope that that's clear. I hope that this helps you, you know, see how the steps link to one another, where you can find them, and that sort of thing. But if you have any questions at all, please do ask, and I'm more than happy to help you with anything that I'm able to help you with. So thanks for watching, and good luck. I hope you have some fun with this assignment. It really can be kind of a lot of fun. And we're going to be able to learn all kinds of things about various forms of research approaches that you might not have ever heard of, or you have heard of but are wondering about. And so I hope that this will be a great resource for you as a researcher, building up a repertoire of approaches that you might use in the future, or for your own projects, or future projects as well. So thanks very much.